Hi guys, today's yoga video is going to be yoga for your shoulders. We're going to use a belt of any sort. You can use a dishcloth. You could get, this is just a material belt from an old pair of pants, or a men's tie would work great. Or if you have a yoga belt, that's fantastic too. But we're going to be using that for a few stretches. We're going to do a quick neck warm up because obviously everything is connected. So we're going to do some neck stretches, then we're going to get up, do some movement, some bigger movement to warm you up, and then we're going to sit down, and probably the last 10 minutes or so are going to be concentrated on stretching out the shoulders and really getting into the shoulders. This is not a video if you have a shoulder injury. Some of the stretches would be great, but other poses are going to be a little bit too much if you do have a rotator cuff injury. Otherwise, obviously listen to your body. If anything doesn't feel good, don't do it. And if anything feels really good, feel free to pause the video and do it longer. All right, so we're going to get started. You're just going to sit up nice and tall, close your eyes, take a nice deep breath in, and a deep breath back out. And today we're going to begin our neck stretches by sitting on your left hand, anchoring the shoulder down toward the floor. You're going to turn your head looking over your right shoulder and tuck your chin down toward the floor. And then your right hand is going to come up onto the back of that head and just give it a little bit of weight. So you bring the head over to your right side while anchoring the left shoulder, feeling it down the back side of your neck, down towards that shoulder. And just breathing while you're there. Shoulders pulling down toward the floor, neck is stretching in the opposite direction. And then keeping that hand where it is, you're going to take your head straight forward and bring your right ear towards your right shoulder. And again, you can add the weight of your arm. If you don't have a big stretch there, then you can lift the chin a little bit more up toward the ceiling, and you should feel that nice, large, the sternocleidomastoid muscle in the front. If you don't, then you're very lucky, but most people have a little tightness there, so breathing. Good, releasing the weight of the arm, bring your head back up to center, switching sides, anchoring down that right arm. Turning your head so you're looking over the left shoulder, tucking your chin down toward the floor, and then adding the weight of your arm if you would like. Feeling the stretch in the back of the neck first, the shoulders being pulled down, noticing where you're feeling it. Trying to connect your mind with the sensations in the body and breathing through it. If you notice that you're holding your breath when something hurts or is difficult, that's normal. Turn your head straight and then bring your left ear over your left shoulder and then add the weight of that arm if you'd like. It's normal to hold your breath when something gets difficult, but we're going to try to breathe through it. On your mat, in life, all the same, always breathing through the difficult. Good, releasing that arm. We're going to come to hands and knees. Starting in cat pose, hands right underneath your shoulders, making sure not to lock those elbows, and press your back up toward the ceiling, chin in towards your chest, tailbone down. And then going in the opposite direction, arching that back, indenting between the shoulders, lifting your chin. Good, rounding. And arching. And then coming to a flat back, you're going to walk yourself back into a squat. If you don't squat, that's okay. Just come into a forward bend because that's where we're going anyway. But just sitting in squat if you can, hanging your heels slightly off the floor. Feet are straight forward, they're completely parallel. And just drop your head and neck for a moment, seeing if you have a tight neck or tight rhomboid muscles. And then lifting your hips up toward the ceiling, coming into a forward bend. Your feet are about hip distance apart. Straightening out those legs, holding on to either the floor or the legs, wherever it's most comfortable. Letting the hamstrings wake up a little bit. And then pressing into your feet, slowly rolling up to standing. So the first thing that we're going to do is cactus arms into ragdoll, into pendulum swings. I'm going to do it sideways because you can probably see it better. But basically, we're going to take our arms up overhead. We're going to turn our palms out to the sides and squeeze the shoulder blades together and the elbows back behind you as the arms come down to the floor. And we're going to do it a couple of times. So you're going to take a nice deep breath in, arms going to come up overhead, and then turning your palms out, the whole arm rotates out, bend those elbows, and you're going to exhale, squeezing the shoulder blades together. The arms are going to come way back behind. You can see that they're further behind, well, they're behind my trunk mostly. And then you're gonna slide your arms down your legs, bend the knees, feet are about hip distance apart, and you're gonna hang in ragdoll. So you're gonna shrug your shoulders, turn your head from side to side, shake it yes and no. And then you can dome up the back so that your hands are off the floor. They're just about to touch, but they hang. And then you're gonna rock your body from side to side, letting your arms just swing on their own from the movement of the body. And then go the other direction. You'll also feel the lower back in this position. It should feel good, but it's very good for the shoulders. And then you're gonna press into your feet and roll back up to standing. Once you stack your spine up, you're gonna take a nice deep breath in. And exhale, cactus arms again. Squeezing back behind you, hoping that it gets a little bigger with each movement. Folding forward from the hips, bending the knees on purpose. Hang those arms. You can fold the forearms and rock from side to side, or just shrug the shoulders and turn the head, whatever feels best for you for today. And then we're gonna purposefully dome up the back a little bit more and do the pendulum arms again. And then pressing into your feet, slowly rolling up. Inhale up, we're gonna do that one more time. Exhale, arms are down, squeezing the shoulder blades, fold it forward. Ragdoll last time, bend those knees, shrug your shoulders, turn your head from side to side. Yes and no with that neck. Then dome up the back and pendulum arms. Good, press into those feet, slowly coming up. And then we're gonna stand in Tadasana. Tadasana means equal standing pose. So your feet are together, shoulders tucked down and back, palms are forward. Tightening up your thighs, your kneecaps lift up toward the ceiling. Pull your belly in and up, chest is lifted, and the crown of your head is lifted. Closing your eyes and trying to balance out the weight on the bottoms of your feet. Just noticing how your shoulders feel spread. They should feel okay. All right, so we're gonna take our legs apart. We're gonna do a couple of poses here, and then we'll probably end up back down on the floor. So we're gonna start in triangle pose. Your right foot is gonna turn out to the short end of your mat, and your left foot is gonna be the wide way on your mat. Notice that I'm gonna tuck that hip down, arms are gonna come out, you're gonna reach your upper body over and tilt down into triangle. Keeping your shoulders in line with your hips. Most of this stretch should be along your side by your hip, and maybe on your inner thigh of the front leg. If you are feeling it in the hamstring, then you're probably leaning too far forward, turning it into a completely different stretch. So you want to rotate the spine up toward the ceiling, looking up toward those fingers, unless it hurts your neck. If it hurts your neck, you can look straight forward. Sliding your hand down toward the floor, but only so far as you can keep those shoulders in line with the hips. And then we're going to come up into Warrior Two. Good. In Warrior Two, we're going to turn the palms up toward the ceiling today. So you're going to rotate the hands up all the way from the shoulders, sink into that right knee, chest is lifted. And from here, you're going to bring the arms back behind you again. So your palms are up and you're bringing the hands back behind you, bringing the thumbs towards one another, which means your upper back is arching and opening. And then when you go the other direction, you're going to round the back as if you're doing a cat pose, and your hands are going to come forward. So you're going to inhale, open up, arching the back into a cat pose, and if you can stick the tailbone out behind you. And then rounding the back, chin in towards your chest, rounding the upper back, bringing your hands towards one another. One more time, open and close. And then back to Warrior. And then we're going to go into side angle. Your right arm's going to be on your right thigh, the left arm's going to reach up and over. And then we're going to come down to the floor, lining up your fingers and toes, sink into that left hip flexor. You can take your right leg back into plank pose, shifting your weight forward, slowly coming down, either all the way down to the floor or into up dog, which means your thighs are up off the floor. And then we're going to go into down dog. And then your left foot is going to step forward. Now, if I come up in this position, obviously I'm not going to be facing you, so I'm going to turn around. But you don't have to face me, you can just listen to my voice. It'd probably make me more comfortable if you weren't facing me anyway. Arms going to be out to the sides. You're in your Warrior. Actually, we should do triangle first to make it even. We're going to straighten out that left leg. Reach your upper body over, tilt down, hold on to that left shin or your thigh, but just not the kneecap. Right arm is straight up toward the ceiling, shoulder blades are pulling down your back, spine is rotating up to the right, pressing into both feet, pressing that left hip forward, breathing in and out. Good, slowly coming up into that warrior two, turning your palms up toward the ceiling, rotating from the shoulder. And then we're going to bring the thumbs back behind you, arching the back, arms are going to come back behind you, opening up the chest, and then rounding forward, over accentuating. Everything's going forward, rounding that back. And then inhale, opening up. Exhale, round it forward. Inhale, open up. Exhale, round it forward. Open up. Round it forward. And then we're going to come back to neutral, regular warrior. Sinking your left forearm onto your left thigh. Right arm's going to reach up and over into side angle. From here, you're going to take those hands down, frame that foot. Left leg's going to come back into your plank. Shift your weight forward, slowly lower down till you hover. Coming into up dog, and then down dog. Now you're going to stay in down dog for a moment, taking your feet kind of wide, sinking into those shoulders. So some people are going to be up here, and that's okay if it's a full stretch. But if you can see the angle of my arms, you want to sink all the way in so that your sternum is coming down toward the floor, and you have a stretch in those shoulders. Obviously, you might still have a stretch in those legs as well, so be kind to the hamstrings. You might need to bend them, and that's okay. Good. All right, from here, we are going to come down to the floor. I'm going to turn back around. All right, so we did Eye of the Needle on the last video, but we're going to do it again because that's a great shoulder stretch. You're going to take one arm, bring it up, open up your side, and then thread it right through the arm and leg there on the floor. Bending that elbow and twisting down. Pressing into your hand as your spine twists, but you want to feel the shoulder on the floor. And if that's not full, your top arm can wrap around to the other thigh. And then take that arm back down to the floor and switch sides. So you're going to take the arm between the left arm and leg, fold it forward till your shoulder comes down to the floor, pressing into both hands, the back of your right hand on the floor and the left hand as you feel the twist in the arms and the back. But you really want to focus on that bottom shoulder. If you do not feel anything, your top arm can wrap around so you can increase the twist. Or there is another option. You could grab onto the wrist of the arm that's on the floor and pull it away from you, and you might get a stretch in the subscapularis. It also feels good. Good. Slowly untwisting. Your hand's going to come back to the floor. We're going to take a deep breath there. Now we are going to go back into down dog. And we're going to do, I honestly forget the name of the pose right now. Wild thing. There we go. We're going to do wild thing, which means we're going to flip over. So again, this is not for people who have a shoulder injury. You are going to take your right leg up toward the ceiling, bend the knee, and we're going to flip it over. So you're kind of in a back bend. It's really good for a stretch for your arms, but it's also some work. And I'm going to flip that back over to a down dog. I'm hoping you can see me on screen. There we go. I'll go a little further forward. So you're going to take your other leg up, bend the knee, drop it back, and come into a back bend. And flip it over. Good. Back to that down dog. Drop your head and neck down toward the floor. We're going to do one more time on each leg. So the right leg's going to float up. Bend that right knee. Flip it over. Arch the back. Good. Come back over. Place the right leg on the floor, left leg floats up, bend that left knee, and flip it over. Good. We're going to come back down. There's really no graceful way to switch around. We're just going to flip around. We're going to do reverse plank. Again, it's for the shoulders. It is a lot of work. You can always shorten it to a table pose if you want and keep the knees bent, and that's totally fine. But otherwise your legs are gonna be straight. Tuck your shoulders down and back into their sockets, fingers are towards your toes, and you're just gonna lift those hips up. Drop your head and neck down toward the floor. Your whole back body is working, but you should feel your shoulders. Good, flexing your ankles, sitting on down. Take a nice deep breath in and fold it forward. Full forward bend, relax your shoulders, tuck your chin in towards your throat. Holding on to wherever it's comfortable, either at your feet or beyond. And we're going to do that one more time. So again, I'm not 100% sure I'm on screen, but I hope I am. You're going to lean yourself back, fingers pointing towards your toes. Tuck your shoulders down and back so your chest is lifted. Press into your heels and lift everything on the back side. Drop your head and neck if it's comfortable. Pressing into your hands, feeling your shoulders work. And of course, you're breathing and your face and throat are relaxed. Good. Slowly lowering back down. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale it forward. Hopefully you felt like you did a little bit of work, but we are going to start to stretch, I think. We have one more to do. All right, so we're going to start on our knees. And we're going to do a variation of triangle. So you're going to take one leg out. If this bothers your knees, feel free to pat underneath it. Your bottom arm, say if we're going to use your left arm and leg, that way we can mirror each other. Your left arm is going to be on the floor. Your right arm is going to reach up overhead. So you're reaching your right arm and leg in opposite directions. And then we're going to take that right arm and we're going to drop it down towards your face. So it's practically touching your nose as you drop it down and circle it way back. So you're working on your shoulder rotation, getting some nice movement in. Good. And on the next one, you're just going to leave it up overhead. So when you get your arm, your bicep by your ear, you're just going to reach it in opposite directions. And then we're going to go to the other side. So your left leg's going to come out, right arm's going to come down to the floor, stacking your hips up, right arm straight up toward the ceiling. Make sure everything's lined up and comfortable, and then your top arm is going to reach over. Now scoot it down. And drop it down in front of your face, and inhale up, big circles. On the next one, you're going to line up the arm with the ear, reaching in opposite directions, and coming down. All right, we're going to grab that belt and start doing some belt poses. So the first thing you're going to do is wrap the belt around your hands or the towel or whatever you're using until they're about shoulder distance apart. And tuck your shoulders down and back so your chest is lifted. And you're going to take the belt out in front of you and you're going to attempt to pull it apart. And obviously that's not going to happen, but you're going to pull so hard that you feel it in the tops of your shoulders. So you're really pulling the belt. Right arm's going to the right, left arm's going to the left, really pulling as hard as you can till you feel it. And then to start to drop your arms a little bit. And then bring them back up and back down. If you don't feel anything, bring them closer together and you'll feel it. So it's going to be different for each person's body. But you want to pull the belt apart until you feel the tops of the shoulders and lower a little bit and lift a little bit. Your arms are incredibly active. Breathing through it. It might be a lot of sensation for you, and that's okay. It's not a bad sensation, or at least it shouldn't be. Good. And relax, shrug those shoulders. All right, the next one, your arms want to be a little bit wider. And you're going to take the arms up overhead. It should easily drop down in front. Your elbows are going to stay completely straight for this. They're never going to bend. You're going to take your arms up and you're going to bring them back behind you. So again, it's almost like the cactus arms. You're gonna bring them back behind you, but the belt is gonna keep them together. So it's a very large bicep, shoulder, and pectoral stretch. And your rhomboids are actually working and contracting as you bring them down. If your elbows bend, that means your arms aren't wide enough on your belt and you need a longer towel or a longer belt or whatever you're using. And then the trickier part is actually coming back up, keeping your arms straight. So we're gonna do that a few times. So once you've adjusted how far apart you want that belt to go, there should be no pain in the joints, no clicking, no discomfort. And you're gonna exhale down, inhale up. Exhale down, inhale up. Exhale, inhale, exhale, and inhale. Keeping your arms at the top, you're gonna lean over to your right. And then come back up and lean over to your left. Good. And come back down. We have a couple more belty stretches. I put them all in one video. We're going to have your arms again about shoulder distance apart. You're going to inhale up and you're going to use your right arm to pull that left arm across. So your left arm is straight but otherwise completely not being used. It's going along for the ride. So you're pulling that left arm across your face. Again, it's practically touching your nose, or maybe it is. And then you're going to come back to the center. So you're going to inhale up, right arm is in control, pulling that left arm across, feeling it pretty significantly in your shoulder, especially if you had your shoulders within the past couple of days. Pulling it across. And then we're going to go the other direction. So you're going to inhale up, use your left arm to pull that right arm across as far as it can go. Inhale up and pull it. Inhale up. And pull. I don't know how many I did on each side, so I'm going to do one more for good measure, because this is my tiger arm. All right, and then just sitting comfortably for a second, shrugging your shoulders, closing your eyes, take a deep breath, see how they're feeling so far. We have a little bit more to go. We're going to stretch the front of the shoulders, so you're going to point your, your fingers in towards one another. Your left shoulder is going to come over toward the right. So you're going to press strongly into that left knee. So left hand's going to press into the left knee. Shoulder's going to come forward and then bring the left shoulder over toward the right. So you should feel it in the front of your shoulder. If you don't, adjust your elbow back and forth until you feel the right stretch for you. And your head just follows wherever it wants to go. Good. Coming back to center, we're going to go the other side. So lean it forward a little bit, real strongly press. The right hand is the right knee. Right shoulder moves forward, twisting a little bit to that side, and then adjust the elbow till you get the stretch along the front of your right shoulder. Okay, so the only one that we have not fit in yet before we do our twists and our stretches is cow face pose. Cow face pose has a lot of leg variations. The full pose would be to stack one leg on top of the other, and that only works if you have no space and no knee discomfort or joint pain. So if you're really flexible, you can go straight to this. Otherwise, the next option would be here, where your legs are stacked on top of each other. Your knee is on your ankle and your ankle is on top of your knee. However, if you have space there, then that's not good for your knee, so you're gonna drop it in front. Okay, so those are your choices. The belt, if you have your left leg in front, you're gonna put the belt also in your left hand. And just do a quick arm circle to the back. And then we're gonna take that belt, bring it up toward the ceiling, line up your upper arm with your ear, bend the elbow till your hand is resting down behind you. I'm going to turn around so that it's resting down between your shoulder blades. And then your opposite arm, you're going to significantly tuck the shoulder down into its socket and walk the arm up till you can hold onto the belt. Now, If you can walk closer and closer and closer, and if you're very flexible, you can lock your fingers. But only if it doesn't hurt the rotator cuff. So the top arm is tucked down. The lower arm, your right arm, is tucked down and back into its socket, and your hands are going up towards one another. So you have a rotator stretch on one shoulder, you have a tricep stretch on the other. You're sitting comfortably, your legs are stacked, you're sitting up nice and tall, and you can stay in the upright position, or you're going to take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to fold it forward so that you get a hip stretch as well as the shoulder stretch. So it's always nice to add in an extra hip stretch here and there. This isn't a hip video, but that's okay. Breathing and stretching out that hip. And at any point, if it's too much on the knee or the hip, you're going to come back up and just do the upright stretch. But you can stay down there for another breath or two if you want to. And then you're going to release the arms, shrug your shoulders, and you should be able to, if you sit for a second, feel the difference between the arms, the stretched arm and the unstretched arm. And then we're going to switch sides. So you're going to stack your other leg on top or in front, whichever feels better for you. Do a couple of arm circles, because this is the arm that was tucked underneath you before and we were using the internal rotators. So you want to wake that arm up a little bit before we have to bring it up overhead. And then take that arm up by your ear, bend it at the elbow, take your hand down between the shoulder blades, your other arm tucks down and back, and you're going to rotate it up to try to grab that belt. Walking your hands as close as you can get them without feeling any discomfort in the shoulders, crown of your head's up toward the ceiling, and then either staying upright or folding it forward, breathing whichever spot that it's comfortable. Checking in with the knee, keeping the shoulder blades down the back, continuing to breathe. And then coming back up, releasing those arms, shrugging your shoulders. And today's twist before Shavasana, we're going to start on our side and open up our shoulders instead of our legs. So you're going to start on your side in a fetal position, and then your top arm is going to twist and open up so that your chest is up toward the ceiling and you're trying to ground your shoulder to the floor. It may or may not make it. Mine is a good 2 inches off of the floor today. And my other side will make it right down. This side does not work. So everybody's body has a side that's a little bit more tight. So you want to challenge it, but not push it too far. So breathing there, lengthening your hip away from the shoulder so you're not crunching in toward the ribs. And then bringing the arm back and switching sides. So rolling over, I'm gonna not face you for a second, and then you're gonna open up that shoulder. So your hips are stacked on top of one another and you're working on grounding the shoulder to the other side, twisting in the spine, stretching out that shoulder, lengthening your hip away from the shoulder as much as you can. Your back might crack, that's okay. You get a free chiropractic visit that way. Breathing in and out. And then we're just going to roll onto your back, hug your legs in towards your chest. We're going to go into Shavasana, so you're going to lay your legs out on the floor, allow them to flap out to the sides. Palms are going to go up to the ceiling, closing your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in, deep breath back out. I'm going to leave you here in Shavasana, relaxing as long as you want to. Hopefully you feel like your shoulders are a little bit more loose than usual. Hopefully everything feels good. Maybe you did a workout before this to warm up, or maybe this was your warm up before your workout. But either way, have a great day, and I